Now we are entering into which topic? It is monetary policy, isn't it? Freeze stop. Can you see it? Now everything is okay, I think. Maximum we have tried to adjust things for you. Yes, in monetary policy, whatever is highlighted, it is very important for you to understand that those are the targeted questions also. In that way also you can understand. So monetary policy as such, this topic has two segments. Do you remember something which I told very important for you? Monetary policy framework and monetary policy framework agreement are not one and the same. This agreement is specific between central bank and central government. But whereas monetary policy framework has three things: objectives, analytics, and operating procedure, where we study tools of monetary policy. Remember that very thing, because this is with date, what are the conditionalities, etc. are here, right? And monetary policy committee, very much specific to Indian context, definite question, right? Now coming into the main aspects, remember monetary policy is a demand side economic policy. Usual question: what is fiscal policy? What is monetary policy? Demand or supply side? That is one standard question or stereotype question. And all about the central bank, I think that is very easy for you. Maybe like a 12th standard portion also, no? It is the apex monetary institution of the country. It enjoys monopoly of note issue, isn't it? It's a banker's bank. It's a banker advisor to the government. It does a lot of development and promotional activities, right? All these you know much better. So this is general. Now macro goals. Monetary policy is a part of the macroeconomic agenda of the country because they work in parity. It is not different. So so these points you have to remember. One of you read it. I'm sorry. Okay, so these are important goals. Now they will give you three macro goals and one will be not falling into this category. That is one thing you have to do. And monetary policy framework, objectives, analytics, and operating procedure. Objectives we saw era wise, if you remember, isn't it? Pre-Keynesian era, Great Depression era, RBI Act guidance, policymakers later years, policy goals also, right? Now, policy goals of the developing countries regarding the contemporary scenario. And specifically, we would have ended with the Indian case. This is expected. Financial and exchange rate stability is one of the important core agendas as a part of monetary policy in the light of economic and financial reforms, right? Under analytics of monetary policy, what do you understand? Transmission of monetary policy, the channels, isn't it? You remember savings and investment channel? What did the savings and investment channel do about? It's about the rate of interest on bank deposits, rate of interest for loans. There's a difference, no, between the two. Here I am a borrower. Here I am a gainer, beneficiary, right? Then cash flow channels. So basically how the cash flow in your hand and in the bank has a lot of difference. Liquidity in hand and what you're compromising the rate of interest. That is very important. And exchange rate channels, I think we did with appreciation and depreciation. One particular chart I told you to remember. What is appreciation? What is depreciation? And one question not only for this topic but also exchange rate is, when during appreciation is exports cheaper or imports cheaper, or during appreciation it is cheaper or expensive? That is one question which is generally asked. Then operating procedures and instruments. Please note that operating target is intermediate target. You have an intermediate target and an operating target. Are you aware of it? Do you understand that? What is an operating target? What is an intermediate target? Okay, that is very important. The goal which you want to attain is intermediate target. Through what you are operating, that is operating target. If I want to attain economic stability, what is the means I have to do? I have to control inflation. I have to regulate inflation. Okay, so the operating variable is inflation. The achievement which you attain is intermediate variable or economic stability in our example. Okay, tools of central bank, quantitative and qualitative. The whole list: bank rate, repo rate, reverse repo rate, open market operation, variable reserve ratio, under that cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio. Repeated question in the examination. Repeated question. And under what is that? Uh, Qualitative, you have, isn't it, moral suasion, regulation of consumer credit, fixation of margin. You remember directives, direct action, publicity. Okay, remember all those points and address the question accordingly. Then we are coming to, I told you some latest tools I will add. Liquidity adjustment facility. You remember liquidity adjustment facility when you're going to borrow over and above the required limit. Okay, and then market stabilization scheme. It came about in the year 2004. It is an understanding, memorandum of understanding was signed between RBI and Government of India. And here, please remember to stabilize because of this, what to say, um, inflow of foreign capital, no, sudden spurt in the resources happens. So this is done for sterilization purpose, stabilization or sterilization operation of RBI. It will take away the domestic liquidity by borrowing. Right, market stabilization scheme, marginal standing facility. So when you want to borrow even above the liquidity adjustment facility at a penal rate of interest, then it is called as marginal standing facility. So all this we have done exclusively. Then comes your second part, monetary policy framework agreement, monetary policy committee. Okay, remember those two. See, look at this act which was amended in the year. RBI Act was amended on June 27, 2016. Why? It wanted to have these two. What are those? An agreement and a committee. So what is agreement? Who are the two parties? The rates of interest, sorry, inflation 246. Remember that. And what are the important dates which you have to remember regarding this is also there. And we follow consumer price index method, and RBI has to publish a monetary policy report every 6 months. Once you are following this method, and what is the source of inflation, and it has to make a forecast for what, 6 to 18 months. It has to present a report. RBI has to present a report, and this inflation will remain for 5 years. Once in every 5 years it will be revised. Now what we have for 246, and that will be there for 5 years, and again it will get revised. Are you clear now? The monetary policy committee, I have given you 24 members. How many members are there? 6-member committee. It's a 6-member committee, and RBI governor, deputy governor, 1 official nominated by RBI board, remaining 3 central government nominees. 6. RBI governor, deputy governor, 1 nominated by the RBI board, rest 3 from the central government. That is how the committee is formed. Okay, the committee allows a participatory approach, a more representativeness. It's a very interesting thing. It is assisted by MPD, Monetary Policy Department. Monetary Policy Department assists Monetary Policy Committee. Are you clear? Now here, the next one, these two are formulation wing. Implementation wing has 2 members. Who are the FMOD and FMC. FMOD is Financial Markets Operations Department. This will be assisted by Financial Markets Committee. You remember I told you reverse. There the committee is assisted by department. Here the department will be assisted by committee. I mean, they will, because this committee helps in kind of day-to-day collection of data, review on liquidity, etc. Okay. Now prior to MPC, was there any committee? Yes, it is called as TAC. Technical Advisory Committee. They also had people with a rich knowledge, etc. But once MPC was formed, TAC got dissolved. Okay. Now can you take some questions on this? Yes. Okay. Question 1. This is an important channel for those that are liquidity constrained. For example, those who have already borrowed up to the maximum that banks will provide. Cash flow, this can come under cash flow channel, or savings and investment channel, or exchange rate channel, or none of the given. You are going to say. Now, depreciation or devaluation of currency increases the volume of exports. Selling reduces the volume of imports. True or false? Depreciation. Dash target refers to the variable that monetary policy can influence with its action. Intermediate or targeting. Options are given for you. The next one. The dash refers to the proportion of the loan amount which is not financed by the bank. In the class, I was explaining this concept with example. If you can remember, from the agriculture sector, from plastic industries, both of them are submitting loan application to the commercial banks. That is the context. And I told you that this term is asked. One of the macro is also known for concept, but this concept is asked. And students are a bit new to it. Amma, I find. Okay. When you say I can scroll further, I will do it. I can scroll. CRR refers to some percentage of commercial banks' net demand and time liabilities which commercial banks have to maintain with the central bank. True or false? Sixth one, during dash, that is whether it's inflation or deflation, you have to say, the RBI sells security in the open market. Commercial banks and private individuals buy it. The dash implies to repeated request given by the RBI on the Indian banking system without any strict action for compliance of the rules. Options are given: directives, publicity, direct action, moral suasion. Repeated request is the clue word also. Dash, that is, this instrument for monetary management was introduced in 2004 following a memorandum of understanding between the Reserve Bank of India and Government of India. Now, my dear students, apart from the traditional quantitative and qualitative tools, 3 tools in the class also I was telling you, study that. Okay, 3 tools, additional tools. From there also questions are asking, and this is one among the 2. Ninth one, MPC consists of how many members? 2, 4, 6, 8. And the last question is, the RBI is mandated to publish a monetary policy report every dash months explaining the sources of inflation and forecast of inflation for the coming period of dash to dash months. See, because it is macro, my dear students, have this point clear. Dates, percentages, outlays, schemes, very important. On the other side, acronyms and concepts. Don't waste your time on big paragraphs. That is for you to know. First time when you study the topic, you should know. But after that, where should your eyes be focused on? Any data, name of the expert, coinage, scheme, examples. Okay, study only the technical part in macro. That is what is asked. It is not a descriptive paper where they will ask you to discuss the merits and demerits of international trade. No. Completed? Yes. For all say yes, I'll go to the answer page. Venkat, did you say yes also? Where is my answer page? The answer is, first one is cash flow channel. The word liquidity is a clue for that. Liquidity constraint is the answer. So, cash flow channel. Okay. Second one is true. Because in depreciation, what happens? The value of my currency is lowered. So, when I have to export, I'm a seller. People are ready to buy from me. So, when there is a depreciation, exports will go up. Imports will come down because I find other goods expensive for me. I have to pay more. Okay, this is a standard question not only for this chapter, my dear students. I think the same chart I gave you even in exchange rate. I told you, remember this depreciation. You remember Japanese yen and US dollar. What is depreciation? What is depreciation? Okay. Third one, the operating target. refers to the variable the monetary policy can influence with its action. Okay. The term margin, fixation of margin, I told you, for agricultural sector, the margin will be less, 10%, which means what? Only 10% you have to take outside, seek loan from outside. We will provide you 90%. For plastic industry, they'll say 90% you take from outside, we can give you only 10, because they don't want plastic industry which is hazardous. Remember the term margin. That proportion of loan which is not financed by the bank, you have to search from outside sources, which means higher rate of interest, compound rate of interest. Are you clear? Okay. CRR. True or false? What did you write? True. During inflation, the RBI sells the security. Isn't it? They will sell security. Means what? They will withdraw money. That is what is needed during inflation. Next answer. Moral suasion. Repeated request. We are not using the word persuasion. Persuasion means again and again. So they are safely avoiding persuasion and say repeated request. Answer is moral suasion, repeated question in the examination. And among the three new schemes, is this market stabilization scheme. Look at the answer, MSS. It's asked in many papers because it's a memorandum of understanding which is signed by the RBI and the central government. You have liquidity adjustment facility also. I'm not saying that it's not important, but it is also important. MPC consists of 6 members. We saw, no, just now. And RBI, were you able to remember this data and give every 6 months? And you have to make a forecast for 6 to 18 months. Fortunately, I gave you option also there. 6 to 18 months. Are you clear? Yes. Have you registered all these questions? Can we go to fiscal policy? Okay. Yes, Tamin, you're noting down something? Okay. Okay. Now let's have a glimpse into it. Highlighted portion for you. It's a deliberate policy of the government. Please understand that we are talking about government intervention here again. Don't forget that the term fiscal means the government is doing something for the well-being of the country as a whole, particularly deprived sections. Okay. It is also a demand side policy. See, very clearly given. Okay. Then what is the subject matter? When they ask you subject matter, like we saw traditional and modern functions. So subject matter of this will be nothing but spending, raising of debt or raising of revenue, budget. In other words, fiscal policy instruments. Public revenue, public expenditure, public borrowing, financial administration or the budget. Okay, that is what is important. That's why you have a topic on budget as an auxiliary to it. When you talk about budget. And look at this. The government can have an impact on all these variables: total output, total employment, inflation, overall economic growth, macroeconomic variables. That's what we're saying. We are using the word total, national, etc. Okay. Then fiscal policy prior to 1930s. Government intervention was not recognized. Post 1930s, after Great Depression, government intervention is a must. Then advent of market power. Market is known for efficiency and profitability. It came into. It can show efficiency. Then market failure because it is not optimally allocating the resources, particularly from welfare perspective. Inefficiency of the market from welfare perspective is market failure. Please remember, it has nothing to do with their profitability and the efficiency on that part. Inefficiency from welfare perspective. Remember that point very clearly, right? And market failure is a very important chapter itself. Okay. Then economic crisis of the present era. It all said that fiscal policy. See, COVID, what happened here? Fiscal policy stimulus, fiscal package, free essential kit pack was given. All those things, right? Government is giving. Okay. Now, Classical economists did not talk about fiscal policy intervention. It is Keynes, in his book, The General Theory, brought about that point very clearly. Okay. Now, fiscal policy instruments are given to you. Objectives of fiscal policy. See, these are very, very important. The four important, that is full employment, price stability, rate of economic development, equitable distribution, right? And then what is operation, modus operandi or a method of operation? Automatic stabilizers. Inbuilt mechanism is there. Discretionary fiscal policy. Here only you have to remember the formula C plus I plus D plus X minus M. Here automatically it will happen. That is what we studied. So I gave you some example of unemployment allowance as such, and automatic stabilizers examples are personal income taxes, corporate income taxes, transfer payments, right? And when you go, this alone is not enough. So discretionary fiscal policy we understand with the effort taken by the government. Okay, that is what is discretionary fiscal policy. And in types of fiscal policy, expansionary and contractionary. My dear students, one point, expansionary is used during the phase of contraction. Contractionary fiscal policy is used during expansionary phase. That they will check for you whether conceptually you are strong in there. That is where. So you have expansionary fiscal policy to address recessionary gap. Expansionary fiscal policy to address recessionary gap. Okay, remember that. And what all methods you have to do. Contractionary fiscal policy, exactly the opposite of it, and this will be used to address inflationary gap. Okay, be clear with that. And when you come to government spending, I think I told you that what will happen during inflation and deflation. Please also know something about that. And then we go on to types of government expenditure, current expenditure, day-to-day running of the government, capital expenditure on infrastructure, transfer payments. Okay, and government spending operations are meant to stabilize the activity, stabilize the economy and save the economy from inflationary and deflationary pressures. Direct benefit is there, employment to the labor. Indirect benefit is fiscal multiplier, isn't it? So as there is an increase in the income, it will bring about increase in the consumer spending. Okay, fiscal multiplier is an example here. MPC I gave you. So what will happen during recession? What will happen during revival? Will the government spend more during recession? Yes. Will the government has to reduce expenditure during inflation? Yes. That is the point you have to know. Basic fundamental point, isn't it? Two types. I told you two concepts in spending. Pump priming and compensatory. So pump priming is what? Here the government is doing to encourage the private sector also to do it. But in compensatory, there is a clear-cut shortfall. It has to compensate for the shortfall in the private sector. Therefore, government does. In case of pump priming, it is encourage, to set an example, to induce them pump priming expenditure. Compensatory is, it is not adequate. What you are doing is not adequate. Therefore, I am compelled to do. I am compensating for what you are not doing. That is compensatory expenditure or spending. Okay. So, that is very important. Taxes. So, tax alone is not the source of revenue. That is where this came into existence. This slide is very important. There are other sources of public revenue also. Tax is a very important tool. Taxes will be reduced during inflation or deflation. When you have to reduce taxes? Taxes will be reduced during
inflation, because our value will be increased in
to give the answer, and then second you give the reason, so that the class should not feel confused. So during I will ask you during recession, taxes will be increased or brought down? Brought down. Why? Because we want to revive the economy. Okay, please be very clear in this point. I thought you know that point clearly. So please, inflation, more new taxes also will be levied. Not only existing, new taxes will also be levied, because we want to curtail the buoyant market or buoyant economy. So remember that part. Let it be income tax, personal income tax or corporate tax. Public debt, my dear students, borrowing by the government. Yes, public debt, internal debt from within the country, external debt from outside the country. For all this, I gave you even data. The external debt of India stands today. Internal debt, I gave you the amount also. Okay. Then forms of public debt. Remember, market loans, small savings. Repeated question in the exam. So what all comes under market loans is your treasury bills and government securities. Okay, they all come under market loans categories. For financing these major projects and all, no, government generally issues treasury bills, T bills. Small savings, I told you, savings certificates are there. National savings certificate, national development certificates are example. Okay, then impact of public debt. What will happen during inflation? During inflation, the government will settle the debt or take debt, borrow. The government will borrow during inflation to withdraw funds. They will settle during recession to inject funds. Remember that way, okay? Budget. Budget is a very important tool. What is meant by budget? We have seen balanced budget, surplus budget, and deficit budget. If you have a deficit budget also, some countries say it is not bad because what does deficit budget means? We are spending more for the welfare of the economy. And that is why to bridge that gap, we have deficit financing. And there two tools are there, issue of notes, borrowing. Now the contemporary method is only borrowing because issue of notes is sometimes dangerous. So borrow because you have an interest debt to pay, you will settle the money. Are you clear, my dear students? Yes. So injections and leakages, please remember. And that is what we said, fiscal impact of budgetary tool is very important. And this is a general part, what I said, no? Impact of fiscal policy, just give one reading, it's more than enough. But you have to study limitations of fiscal policy. Different types of lag. Recognition lag, decision lag, implementation lag, impact lag. Problems. Implementation at the wrong time, inbuilt rigidity, nature of the project itself, cyclical fluctuations and fiscal funding. They have to be matched, isn't it? See how long this metro work is going on, isn't it? Unpredictability, conflicting objectives. Sometimes you find it. Supply side economists are saying we have to also address it. It's not only a demand side problem. From supply side, we have to address the problem. Okay, deficit financing. You have to be very careful when you use government expenditure as a means because you have to repay. Expenditure is greater than income, revenue, isn't it? So that is one point. Debt burden. We have to be very careful about debt burden, particularly external debt burden. Crowding out effect. Every year it is asked. Every question paper it is there. What is crowding out effect? In simple terms, we have done with examples. When the private sector, when the government steps in, say in the money market, they borrow and they do business, the rate of interest goes up in the interest market. Now private sector which is borrowing and doing business, it is not having an incentive. Oh, high rate I have to borrow and I have to do, I won't do. I think in the class I gave you the example of government supplying computers or laptops, laptops to schools and college students. When the government stepped in, it demotivated the private sector investment in laptops. One thing is government is now going to give free, so it will not have a demand for laptops from students. The second thing is the government is also doing it as a business. It has to also borrow. When it is borrowing, naturally the demand is going up for money, the interest rate is going up. And the private sector says, I cannot borrow money at this high rate of interest and do business. It will withdraw. When the government steps in and as a private investment is curtailed, it is crowding out effect. Am I clear? Yes, that is the repeated question. That's why separately, apart from this point in our notes, separately we did crowding out effect. Is that clear, my dear students? Are you clear with this? Okay, annexures. That's okay. Can we now have a look into the questions? Is it possible for us to touch the questions? You saw the questions? I'll freeze it. Be ready for this grand exercise. Okay. First round is okay. In the second round also, you must be able to fare well. Okay. Take the questions. A study of government activities and its impact on aggregate variables comes under dash policy. Fiscal, exim, monetary, industrial. Tools of fiscal policy given below. Choose the odd one out. Public revenue, public expenditure, reverse repo rate, financial administration. If you have done, you tell me. Then, non-discretionary fiscal policy are called as, you have to fill it up. Non-discretionary fiscal policy are called as dash. Complete the formula. Two blanks are there, you have to fill up the formula. Contractionary fiscal policy, when are they used? Deflationary or inflationary phase. Now, two types of government expenditure is there. You have to say whether the example is about pump priming or compensatory spending. Generally, it is easy to find out. They will somehow have the clue word. Now, here you have to find out the type of public debt which is given there in this example. The government issues treasury bills and government securities of various denominations and durations which are traded in the debt market. You have to write the type of public debt. When spending by government in an economy replaces private spending, it is a case of dash effect. Fiscal policy is in the nature of demand side policy, true or false. Now the next question is, you have to identify which lag. Even when appropriate policy measures are decided on, there are possible delays in bringing in legislation and implementing them. Done, all of you? Yes? Venkat, every time I'm asking you because you seem to be stuck to the board and deep thinking. Today he is like a keen sense. He became Richard Musgrave, I think. Deeply engrossed. Okay, where is my key? Super duper percentage. The key disappeared. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Please look at it. A study of government activities and its impact on aggregate variables comes under fiscal policy. Don't be deluded by exim policy, industrial policy, monetary policy. No. Okay. Tools of fiscal policy are given below. Choose the odd one out. Were you able to choose reverse repo rate? Yes. Non-discretionary fiscal policy are known as automatic stabilizers. Automatic stabilizers. Fourth one, complete the formula. C plus I plus G plus NX or X minus M. Were you able to write C and G? S, consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, government expenditure plus exports minus imports, net exports, isn't it? Contractionary fiscal policy when? During inflationary phase. Compensatory spending. Were you able to choose that? Instead of compensate, supposing something like that also they may change and give. Okay, don't always expect compensate. In some papers, the term compensate is there. Okay, compensatory spending. You tell me what is the difference between pump priming and compensatory spending? How did you understand? A small conceptual note we had because these are important concepts. What's the difference? In pump priming, what is that the government does? What is the government spend? The government spends to encourage the private sector also to invest, to motivate them, to boost them, to set an example to them. Okay, that is pump priming. Under compensatory spending, there is a shortfall. We need 10 hospitals in an area, right? Private hospitals are only 2, but the requirement of the population is 8 more. The government says, see, no other private clinics are coming up, so I will set up. So that is compensatory. Remember, important fiscal concepts. As you studied fiscal federalism, it is an important concept. Okay. Then next one, market loans. How many of you was able to give that? I gave you the clue now whenever they give the term treasury bills. Particularly when they want to do some infrastructure projects, market loans are floated. Okay. Then when spending by the government in an economy replaces private spending, what did you all do? Answer is crowding out. Did you write that? Crowding out effect? Were you able to find out that answer? Okay. Fiscal policy is a demand side policy? Yes, we saw that. Okay. Were you able to recognize a lag? Implementation lag. Please be very clear, repeated question. And here, instead of this, I will give another term so that the clue word also will not be there. Executing them. If they give, you don't even have the word implementation. So you should know what are the different types of lag. Limitations, usually I say don't waste time on limitations and merits. In fiscal policy, you mark it. Limitations of fiscal policy is a question asked. Even in the scanners, what I noticed everywhere. You have to study limitations of fiscal policy. When a revision tip is given for the particular topic, please register it in mind or write in your revision notebook or mark it somewhere. You are going to study limitations of fiscal policy. Am I clear in this now? Yes? Okay. Shall we go for money demand? Are you ready for money demand? Have you noted the answers? It's one of the most challenging topics, my dear students. So please remember and be very, very careful. Okay. What is money? For the purpose of policy, how it is defined. What does money provide us with? Purchasing power. Settlement of business obligations. So, money can be defined only by its functions. We already saw that, isn't it? So, that is what we are beginning with. Some important points. See, I have given you some key points. You study that. First part is very, very important. Digital payments, demonetization, importance of money, the primary functions of money. Can you understand? Medium of exchange, isn't it? Primary function. So remember, all these are given to you. E-money, demonetization date, all these are given to you. Now, forms of money, definitions. Walker, repeated question. Money is what money does. What is near money? What is dear money? Near money is what? That which is not in cash but easily convertible into cash. Dear money is getting money at a very high rate of interest. Fiat money, legal tender money. Fiduciary money, not backed by law but by trust between the parties. Remember all, fiat money, fiduciary money. And definition of money, this you please remember, they are asking this particularly. That is We say there is no unique definition of money, isn't it? And you find that it has been cited by Reserve Bank of India Manual on Financial and Banking Statistics 2007. Very clear definition they have given. Then features of money, 3 will be correct, 1 will be wrong. Like yesterday we did know. Characteristics of labor, 1 is incorrect. Characteristics of land, 1 is correct. Like that, characteristics of money, among the 4, 1 will be incorrect. You have to find out that. Okay, for that. How is money measured officially? And that is where I think we had this M1, M2, M3, M4. Okay, narrow money, broad money, M1, isn't it? M1 and M1, M2, M3, M4. All these are very important to you. Okay. Okay, we mentioned about narrow and broad money, and later on we discuss, I think. That's what is not here now. So what is broad money? What is narrow money? You have to know, isn't it? Broad money and narrow money, and that is defined by M1, M2, M3, M4. We have done that in the class also. And then comes your quantity theory of money, isn't it? Theory of demand for money. Classical approach, neoclassical approach, and Keynesian approach, isn't it? For QTM, you remember? And Fisher's equation, MV is equal to PT, and it is also MV plus M dash B dash is equal to PT. This is about banking. It's about including the banking sector or credit money. Okay. And the equation is explained to you. Fisher's equation, Cambridge equation given by 4 experts. Marshall, Pigou, Robertson and Keynes. And where is this equation? This is Cambridge equation. Both the equations you study. What is that Fisher? Cambridge is MD is equal to KPY. KPY. Right? Both the equations are important. And Keynesian theory of demand for money, liquidity preference, liquidity trap, all these are coinages by whom? John Maynard Keynes. Okay, please remember that. 3 motives: transaction, precautionary and speculative motive. Okay, and here Keynes has also given one thing as LR is equal to KY. So this is a Keynesian understanding. He has also accepted transaction, he has also accepted precautionary, but he has given speculative demand for money. Okay, in speculative demand for money, we had 2 diagrams. This relates to individual speculative demand for money, and this is aggregate speculative. They will give the graph. You have to identify whether it is individual speculative or aggregate speculative. I think in the class we did this exercise. No, this is liquidity trap. This point, that's all. It will be like straight. It will not come further down. This point is liquidity trap. Okay. Yes. And a small note, yeah, we know about liquidity trap, and then we went on to post-Keynesian theory. Inventory theory given by Baumol and Tobin. It is similar to transactions approach only, but we had other discussions. Then Friedman's restatement of the quantity theory, where his invention was permanent income. Permanent income, repeated question. And demand for money as a behavior towards risk is Tobin's theory. How many of you have studied the post-Keynesian theories clearly? And permanent income, look at the definition, which is the Friedman's measure, present expected value of all future income. Present value of what I would get 5 years later. That is permanent income. Repeated question, which I've seen, right? Remember that. What is it? Present, you are working out the present expected value of future income. Today I'm going to invest in business. 5 years later, this is what I reap. What is the value for it today? Are you clear? Yes. Please note that. And this is Tobin's theory, and how he says whether holding money as cash or in alternative assets is a calculation based on whether you are a risk preferer or risk averse. Are you clear? Yes. Would you like to take up this test also? Quiz test? Yes. Saravanabe, rain is making you happy or macro is making you happy? I only pray I should believe your words here. Okay, please do the exercise. Here you're just going to write you have the options. What happened? What happened?
Answers given. Give all the.
Third one also I gave.
Usually money is gone.
I gave you. Beautiful lady. I gave everything. Third one where I gave. That's good. So you can wait for a minute, okay? See, as I'm doing itself, I finished off. I will do it for myself. I should check before giving them. Yeah, do the test now. Dash is demonetization date in India. Dash money refers to money that is hard to obtain because of the abnormally high interest rates. Among the things the dash says, it's a quote, says that money can be counted as broad money. Is it RBI or IMF or LI or none? Equation MD is equal to PT. Which is the option which is suitable? Cambridge, Fisher, cash balance, none. Which option is suiting the equation? MV is equal to PT. That you have to say. Shall I go to the next? Cash balance approach is based primarily upon Keynesian QTM is primarily based upon. The options are same, but you have to select the correct one. Primarily is a clue. Otherwise, it is different. And options are transaction, precaution, speculative motives. Have you chosen for these two? Okay, go to the seventh one. Fisher's extended equation, you have to write. You have to write the Fisher's extended equation. Then Cambridge equation. Write down the Cambridge equation because what we will generally forget, no? That is one. And from the graph, as I told you, the typical question which I see is you have to identify whether it is the individual speculative demand or aggregate speculative demand for money which is portrayed in the above graph. When we went through the notes, we saw the graph, no? I showed you, isn't it? Done. Dash is a situation when expansionary monetary policy does not increase the interest rate, income, and hence does not stimulate economic growth. Very important question for the exam. So only without options I gave you, so that in the class you will get it registered very well. Dash is a situation when expansionary monetary policy does not increase the interest rate, income, and hence does not stimulate economic growth. Then in post-Keynesian, I've asked you, see, Dash and Dash developed a deterministic theory of transaction demand for money known as inventory theoretic approach. My dear students, in QTM, first three theories, that is cash balance, cash transaction, that is transaction, precautionary, speculative, motive. Motives themselves you have to read. Post Keynesian, read the name of the theory, who gave the theory, what is that they say on money. That's more than enough. That's what they're asking. Who gave the theory itself is important, what theory they give. Because they are advanced theories, no? So they are not questioning you intricately on the second part. On post Keynesian, please register as a revision class tip for this topic I am giving you. Precautionary motive, transaction motive, speculative motive are easy. They are not advanced theories. You can understand. Why money is held in cash form as compared to alternative interest bearing asset. These three questions will be answered by the motive itself. But when it comes to post-Keynesian theory, they are advanced theory. Let it be Baumol, let it be Friedman, let it be Tobin, they are all advanced theories. So they are not asking any intricate question on it. They are asking who gave what, the name of the theory, who gave it. That is one. The second type of thing is, what does it imply, on money, holding money in cash form. The whole quantity theory of money here is, why do a person prefers holding money in cash form as against putting it in another form which will give you a rate of return? That rational question, every human being. I am keeping, say in my home 20,000. If it was in bank, what would I get? If it was invested somewhere, what would I get? Rate of return. No? Why is that calculation or choice made? For the three motives, it's clear. Transaction motive is every day I need money, no? From dawn to dusk, I have transaction to make. So I can't be running somewhere. I can't invest money or keep it somewhere. Put it in some asset. Precautionary motive. Some unplanned expenditure may come. For that purpose, I will have. Speculative. Some wonderful investment opportunity may come in the future. For which I will have. Those answers are clear. But post-Keynesian theories is not that you have to go into depth. Just study what each one says. Is that clear? Okay. Have you all done this? Can I show the answer? Yes. 8th November 2016. Very important question, my dear students. And most of the, in institute's paper, they are also saying that demonetization date is very important for economics. So 8th November 2016. Anybody wrote it correctly? Oh, that is, you mean date, month and year?
Because on that day it fell down somewhere. So I remember.
So fall down. Every day you fall down, when you read macro and microeconomics, you'll remember. Keep jumping and doing. See, falling down is same, like jumping. Keep jumping. It's also like slipping. So as you study, you jump and study. Okay. Yeah. So now this is not the question, no? So what was the question? IMF is the answer for that. IMF. They only gave, it's not RBI. We will write RBI, that broad money, IMF has already given. Okay. Then what was the third for the third question, answer is dear money. Getting money at a very high rate of interest. We changed, these two questions, you remember? So high rate of interest. So that is dear money. We have dear money policy, cheap money policy itself. When you can get money at a lower rate of interest, cheap money policy. When you get money at a very high rate of interest, dear money policy, that is dear money. Okay. Yes. Fisher's equation. Did you choose the correct answer, Fisher? Some people would have chosen wrongly, like cash balance and all. It is Fisher. Okay. Cash balance approach is primarily based upon precautionary motive or precautionary motive. Cash transaction is transaction motive. Cash balance. You remember money on wings, money on sittings. Those who attended the class will know. Okay. QTM. Keynes QTM. Speculative motive. But one point, my dear students, I'll tell you, Keynes accepted transaction motive, precautionary motive, added speculative motive. But here the question is, primarily what did he give? Speculative. Because already transaction precautions are there, he accepted it. Then came for added speculative motive also. Okay. Then, how many of you gave this equation correctly? MV plus M dash V dash is equal to PT. Extended, Fisher's extended equation where he is including credit money or bank money. Were you able to write? Okay. Cambridge equation. Remember, people are studying Fisher's equation but not Cambridge equation. That's why I said you have to give the formula MD is equal to KP. Why? Okay, please remember, my dear students, study Cambridge equation. Fisher's equation, inevitable question. It is there. But Cambridge equation to make you feel tough. The paper is tough because people ignore when they don't get registered. That's why I showed you all the three equations. Isn't it? And from the graph, what was his answer? Individual speculative demand for money. The other one, no, that is aggregate will be like this, will be like one demand curve. It will be like this. That is aggregate. Okay. Liquidity trap. Mark this as an extremely important Keynesian concept. Liquidity preference, liquidity trap, all these are Keynesian concepts. Mark it as important. Where, see, that diagram is there, no? That also implies that. In the diagram itself, I think I showed you that. If I remember rightly. See, it will become like this to indicate liquidity trap. Okay? Yes. So, who gave deterministic theory of transaction demand for money? It was given by Baumol and Tobin. Deterministic theory of transaction demand for money. 12th one, anybody was able to write correctly? Permanent income, I made present value of present expected value of future income. Permanent income is a concept given by Friedman. 12th. Yes, Saravanavel?
Both A and B.
Both A and B. What did I give actually? Let me check. Both A and B is, why do you say that? I don't understand. The name is, no, it is only permanent. He has a point. What you say has a point, but it is called as permanent income. The term is permanent income. In that permanent income, how are you measuring? Present expected value of all future incomes. And one more thing before we close this topic. What I underline, I expect you to just keep it in your mind. I will underline one thing. See, for Baumol and Tobin, if you have no time to study anything, also remember this. That is, whether I'm going to hold money in cash form or bonds is an example of an alternative interest bearing asset in which I'm putting money. Okay, this will depend upon costs. One is cost of switching between money, alternative asset. Money, alternative asset. There is a transfer cost involved in that. And then opportunity cost. And when there is a high rate of interest in the market, if I'm going to hold money, isn't it? Opportunity cost. So, the crux of the theory is this cost. So, Baumol and Tobin, in their inventory theoretic approach, they have accepted transaction demand for money, but the point they make is consider the cost of holding money in one firm as against the other firm. See, when you have to keep transferring, you have to approach a bank, a broker, or an agent. They have commission charges, bank brokerage fees, etc. Isn't it? So please remember, it will have to be in such a way that cost is minimized. Whichever firm you want to have, you have. How much in cash, how much in bond, or any other interest-bearing financial asset, but work out the cost. That clue are you getting, ma? For the whole thing, for the whole essay, I'm giving you the clue. The whole entire thing. One is the opportunity cost and the other one is the cost of transferring or switching between the assets. Okay? You are making transfer now. Cost of transferring between one firm to other, one firm to the other. That one an opportunity. Do that in such a way that the cost is minimum and accordingly plan your portfolio. That is there. For permanent income, already I told you how should you do? Work out the present value of the incomes expected in the future. Have that main point. And when you come to this Tobin's theory, as a behavior, money as a behavior towards demand for money as a behavior towards risk. We all know that instead of holding money in cash form, another financial asset is going to be giving returns. But of the two, which is safer? Holding cash is safer. There, any loss. So work out that loss. It is an individual's behavior towards risk. Risk aversion. No, I don't want to take risk. I'm very scared of risk means what I will have. Somebody says to you, no, 50% rate of return you'll get. Go and invest your money. If you're a challenging person, you'll go, okay, hit or miss, okay. But you're a very person, you're not comfortable with that. You're not a challenging person. What would you do? Yeah. No, I don't want that. I'll keep money with me. Leave it. That is for people who are more speculative. I'm not that. Quite possible, no? So Tobin says, let us understand why people are having money in cash form. You see, landlords, village, rustic people, huge money they'll have in their bureaus. Of course, lack of banking habit is not considered to be, is not suggested here. But Tobin is only telling, you are asking for the logic, no? Why you should have money in cash form when you can put it in some other form which will give you a rate of return. The logic he gives is demand for money, demand for holding money in cash form as a behavior towards risk. Clear? Getting it? Yes? Yes or no? These three main points I want to give you in post-Keynesian theories. Even if you don't have time, if you have this in mind, you can answer the question. Yes, are you clear? Yes? Okay. Shall I go to the next one? Break. Okay, I don't mind because I'm having a second round also for you. So it is not a problem to me. Okay, you want a 5 minutes break? Yes, you can enjoy. I'll give you that break, definitely. Yes. Online students. Yes, you may join now. We are going to do money supply and then second round. You have to be very, well prepared for the second challenging round. So we will do this money supply concept. What you saw was money demand, and I told you for post-Keynesian, please remember that clue for each of the three theories and then give a reading, right? Now money supply. Look at the highlighted ones. Who are included in the term public? So what is money supply? Of course, we know here whether it is a stock variable or a flow variable is a question. Very clearly given as a stock variable. And when you define money, see, look at the term money, how money supply is defined as total quantity of money available to the people in an economy. So by that people, by that public, who all are included is a repeated question. So that is what is given here. So look at this point, who are included in the term public. So when we prepared our material itself, we had this thought in mind. So it will be given listed out. And who are excluded? Producers of money are excluded. So who are the producers? That is how the essay goes. Central government, state government, local governments, etc. Okay. And here you find that under the word components of money, when we say money, what are the agencies that can be introduced? Private firms, non-banking financial institutions, non-departmental public sector undertakings. I told you that there are some public sector undertakings which are working on private sector model. They will have a separate MD. They will have a hierarchy, corporate hierarchy. They come under non-departmental public sector undertakings. Remember that point. Foreign central banks, governments, foreign governments, IMF, all these are coming. The word, what does the word public include? So you have to remember all this. And a note, which I already discussed in the class, I gave you for each of these institutions. Those who are not clear with the note, it is an explanatory note added for you. Now, why should we measure money supply? Standard question. What is the reason for this big exercise? M1, M2, M3, M4? Yes, I have to understand the causes of money growth. Where does the money grow? How does the money grow? That we need a framework. We need a structure. Monetary policy framework agreement. How was it possible to come to that agreement? We know something about what is happening in the monetary sector. A framework, a structure. That's why money is to be measured. And two important sources of money. Please remember this letter H. High powered money is a central bank money, and commercial bank money is denoted as credit money. Creation of credit. From one primary deposit in a day, we can derive money. We saw that exercise, no? Those who were there, you would have known. Primary high powered money, that is central bank money, and you have the credit money also. Now coming to this again, here this topic and the previous topic will overlap. Money demand and money supply. What is fiat money? What is fiduciary money? Examples of that you study, please. Credit creation by the commercial banks is given to you here in detail. This data is very, very important, because without studying the segment you can't write. Since 1935, July 1935, collection of monetary statistics, dissemination of monetary statistics till 67-68, narrow measure of money. There we stopped narrow and broad. IMF said have broad measure. What is that? And in India, what is it? This is where you're studying, isn't it? M1, narrow measure. From 67-68, followed aggregate monetary resources, acronym very important, AMR, aggregate monetary resources, from 67-68. And from April 1977, M1, M2, M3, M4. My dear students, this is a practical thing, how it is happening. This you have to study. This should be in your fingertips, because they may change one of the component and ask you to find out the correct and incorrect one. Fill up, question mark. So this exercise is very important. Today in this class you have to study, because I am going to make you write M1, M2, M3, M4. Question marks will be given. Okay. So will you do that? Please study this in the class itself. And okay. Then two important theories of money: exogenous, endogenous. Exogenous means central bank alone can determine. Endogenous is more holistic approach, central bank, commercial banks and the public. That is what is the final theory. Theory given by Anna Schwartz and Milton Friedman. Expected question, new one. That's not the traditional one. Anna Schwartz and Milton Friedman has given. That is also popularly known as money multiplier approach. Behavior by the central bank, behavior by the commercial banks, behavior by the public. All two to three together. You have this money multiplier approach in monetary language. And look at the formula for money multiplier. Money multiplier is equal to money supply by monetary base. And this monetary base is your high powered money, H. Okay. And when you multiply M into monetary base, you get money supply in the country. Are you clear? This one. Okay. So this is where, we saw in the class itself with the example. And look at this. Milton Friedman and Anna Schwartz, remember the year 1963. All the three together. High powered money denoted by H. Ratio of reserves, cash reserves to deposits denoted by E or ER by D. Excess reserves by deposits. Ratio of currency to deposits denoted by C or C by D. Ratio of currency to deposits. Okay. So look at the three. H, central bank money. E, ratio of reserves to deposits, ER by D. This is commercial bank's behavior. And third one is common man's behavior, C by D, currency ratio denoted by letter C. So what letter C denotes, what letter E denotes, what letter H denotes, you have to say. First one is behavior by central bank, second one is behavior by the commercial banks, third one is behavior by the public. So ER by D is commercial bank's behavior. C by D is public's behavior. You must be able to find out. Okay, see. Okay. And there we studied required reserve ratio. This is what is statutorily required to be kept by the commercial bank, by the RBI. But actual reserve ratio, sometimes they keep more than that. So the difference between the required and the actual will be your excess reserve ratio. When actual reserve ratio is greater than RRR, you get ERR. In the class we did. I do not know how many of you were present for this. Actual reserve ratio greater than required reserve ratio. So what is that resulting in? Excess reserve ratio, ER. ARR, RRR, ERR. Okay. So this will be greater. Practically speaking, in practice it will be greater. Okay. That's what we have explained to you. Impact of H has been given to you. Behavior of the public. In fact, public should have banking behavior. Only then they'll be able to do it. Okay. So in summary, please look at this. Lower these ratios are, larger is the money multiplier. When I have less money with me, more is circulated in the market means money multiplier will be, isn't it? If I'm going to have more currency with me, if the commercial banks is having excess reserve with them, then what will happen in the market? Less money will be, isn't it? So, required reserve ratio R, if that is very high. Excess reserve ratio with the commercial bank is high. If currency with the people is very high, then money multiplier effect will be less. If these are small, multiplier effect will be greater. What is this? R stands for required reserve ratio. If that is going to be very high, means what? Not money is not going to be circulated in the market. Excess reserve ratio by the commercial banks, even above R, they are keeping. Their ARR is even higher than RRR. That is not available for the public. Okay. C, currency. C by D is what? I am having more preference for holding money in cash form than deposits. Again, more with me only. Idle money, no? So that is the inverse relationship. Study this conclusion, very important. Okay. And effect of government expenditure on money supply. It's a practical case. Now, what is this here? The concept you are learning is this. For every chapter, I will underline the concept and tell. For previous fiscal policy, we studied what? Crowding out effect. No, like that. This is. We'll make it a little big now. Ways and means advances. My dear students, please understand, when the central government and state government are finding a shortage or a shortfall of the reserves, cash reserves, even below the minimum requirement they have one facility. What is that? They can borrow from the RBI. So RBI will lend to whom? RBI will lend to the central bank or the state government. Please remember, it will lend to them. Now what will happen is, why does the government require this? It wants to fund some program, or say it wants to pay salary to its staff. So what will happen in this case? The account of the government will be debited and the beneficiary's account will be credited. This is how the story. Okay. So that facility is known as ways and means advances. When the central and state government find that there's a shortage of the minimum requirement, because minimum requirement is calculated based on their requirements, fundamental requirements. So let us take, for example, the government owes a salary of 10,000 crores. Now it is having only 8,000 crores. So 2,000 crores it needs. It can borrow from RBI. RBI can lend it. Now this 2,000 crores, what will happen? No, it will go to the beneficiary's account, because on what basis they borrowed? Salary I have to pay, there is a shortage. So the account of the beneficiary will be credited. The government account will be debited. So what is happening now? Money multiplier effect will happen. Do you see? Because you and me are getting salary as government employees. Money is floated in the market. And then remember, the name of it is called as ways and means advances. That is a technical term. Generally, they say understand as OD facility, because I've exceeded, but I'm asking. So that is what is this. So generation of excess reserve. RBI has given. There's a shortfall in minimum requirement. The RBI is ready to give, ready to lend. And how this transaction will happen is, beneficiary's account will be credited, government's account will be debited. How many of you understood this story? Ways and means advances. Have you understood? Yes, Kavya, Tamin, all of you. Venkat, you want to explain to the class for the benefit of the class?
I have to again
Kavya, you want to explain to the class? Tamin, can you try explaining to the class? You always do good things for the others. Try.
No, there was not something. It was in my mind as a
You understood or what?
figure, but I can't.
Kavya? Archini, you want to try? You're thinking I'm not giving an opportunity? Sanjay's tone will be very, very low. So, not a loud voice. Saranavil, by any chance you want to explain to the class? But have you all understood this concept, what I meant? It has got into your mind. So, who is borrowing from whom in this case? Tell me like that, I'll ask you like that. Who is borrowing from whom? Who is borrowing? Government borrows from RBI. The RBI is ready to give because government is in a crisis. Why? It is falling short. Reserves are falling short of the minimum requirement. RBI is giving, which means government account will be credited? No, because the government is telling the reason why it needs. The reason in our example or any example for that matter, I have to pay somebody. Maybe I have to pay the farmer for purchase of this. I have to pay subsidy to the consumer. I have to pay salary to the people. In all these cases, the money which is taken from the RBI goes to some other account. There, the beneficiary's account is credited, government's account is debited. Got it now? Ways and means advances. That is a term. And in one or two papers they've asked WMA expand. So I repeatedly telling ways and means advances. Okay. So shall we go to the question segment? Quiz segment? Please and check here. Seriously. Okay. It's fine. Now you can do this chapter. Do it. The term public is defined to include all economic units, households, firms and institutions except individually you need not have to name them. There is one group. You have to mention that group. Okay. Second question, who are the producers of money? Central government, state government, local bodies, all of the above. H denotes dash money. Fill up that term. I'm not asking which institution's money. I'm asking what the name of it. H denotes what? Okay. This is a question from the data segment. Since when? July. You have to talk about RBI starting to compile and disseminate monetary statistics. A year is very important. Expand, AMR. You saw that term, no, when we were discussing AMR. When you say alternative theories of determination of money supply, what would you choose? Exogenous or endogenous or both or none of the given here? Till you're done? Now this one, I'm going to keep a separate test for you. So I will call out and you have to fill it up. Okay, that is how it will be. Now give the formula for money multiplier. Write the formula. Like you studied today, Fisher's formula, extended equation, Cambridge equation, like that. I think I showed you the formula for money multiplier. And when you revise, you revise with the numerical example given. In case they ask also, you can apply the formula. Excess reserve equation, ERR greater than RRR, RRR greater than ARR, ARR equal to RRR, none of the given. Whenever the central and state government's cash balances fall short of the minimum requirement, they are eligible to avail a facility called dash. Okay. Done now? Can we show the answer key now? Okay. First one, all except the producers of money. See, please look at this. What happened to this one? All except the producers of money. Okay, have that in mind. Then, who are the producers of money? All of the above. H denotes high powered money. Did you all remember the year 1935? Yes, remembered? Good. Then, expand AMR, aggregate monetary resources. Actually, the alternative theories are two. They are both exogenous and endogenous. Two alternative theories, exogenous and endogenous. Okay. Formula for multi-multiplier, money supply by monetary base. And excess reserve formula is ARR greater than RRR. And the facility which the central and state governments are availing from the RBI is known as ways and means advances. Clear? How many all got correct this 10? 10 out of 10. How many you got correct, I asked? 4. Good only for a tough exercise. 4, 5, 6. Okay, that is fine now. Nothing I can do. Okay, please take down this macro revision exercise. Set 1. First question. Which of the following is covered under the scope of public finance? Question 1, let me give you the options. Option A, public revenue and public expenditure. Public debt, option B. Public debt, option B. Okay. Financial administration, option C. All of the above, option D. Yes, what is the answer? All of the above. Isn't it? I wrote that. All of the above. Okay. Second one. Which of the following is not correct about public finance? Is not correct about public finance. Is not correct about public finance. Economic gains are primary motives for public intervention programs. Budgets can result in surplus, deficit, or be balanced. All three result alternatively. Private enterprises enhance their profitability through fiscal policy measures. Fourth one is all of the above. C. Okay. Others? Can you say why you chose C? Anybody has a reason to say you chose C, okay? Do you have a reason for it?
Government intervention.
If there is a government intervention, then how can private enterprise finance their profit?
No, you all only chose C, no? So I'm only asking why. Therefore only I'm asking.
That's why it is not correct about public finance.
Okay. It's not correct about public finance. Other two are correct.
Budget can differ from all.
And all three, after the semicolon, did you read? All three result alternatively. All three have equal chances of happening. All three result alternatively. One time I get surplus, next balanced, third thing. The actual answer is this. All of the above are incorrect. You know why? Deficit budget only is a practical truth. Very rarely you can target surplus or a balanced budget. It will not take place like this. I can't even expect the surplus for years or decades together. Deficit is a common kind. Deficit budget is the truth. In India, we have, you see, in the slides which I gave you, somewhere, some country, Germany, Sweden, they would have got this surplus or balanced. It is not a common phenomenon. Deficit budget is a common phenomenon. Even in advanced countries, basically. Right. So, what is when you talk about the concept of different types of budget, deficit is a common, most common. So this is also wrong. And here he said, how can the private enterprise benefit? True. Government intervention is not for that. It is for people who are suffering below the poverty line. And here, economic gains are primary motive. No. Economic well-being of the country, welfare. Economic gain is not equal to welfare. It's not agenda. It's not the agenda. So all of the above are incorrect. They'll give you a term well-being. They will give you the term welfare. This is interpreted here as profits. Clear? Have you got it? Question number 3. Like yesterday, we will do 5 as a set. Okay. Which of the following is not an economic system? Is not an economic system. I'll give you the options. Oligopoly, capitalism, socialism, mixed economy. Fourth one. Macroeconomic stabilization. Macroeconomic stabilization. May be achieved. Macroeconomic stabilization may be achieved through, I'll give you the options. Free market economy, fiscal policy, monetary policy, B and C. Read it properly and see. This is one question which is stated as requiring some deeper understanding of the concept.
Yes.
B.
Yes.
B and C. Others?
Two doubts, ma'am. Either B and C or fiscal policy.
Oh, either B and C or B. B option. Others? B and C. Yes, Kavya. Free market economy. The answer is B and C. Noted down, repeated question. Monetary policy along with fiscal policy only is done for stabilization, even though it is macroeconomic stabilization. Please remember that even in the same topic, you would have mentioned that. Monetary along with fiscal policy, monetary policy is also taken for macroeconomic stabilization. Free market economy, no. Free market economy is a failure. They will perpetuate fluctuation. They will not stabilize. They take advantage of ups and downs. Are you clear? Okay. Please go to the next one. Fifth one. Advocate of. You have college today, I doubt. You have. Please check. I think schools, colleges have been declared. Yeah, please ask. Yes, please, Kavya. Please take down the questions. Advocate. Repeated question in the examination. Advocate of free market. Advocate of free markets. Why? Hello, Mr. Okay. Please, let's get into others. Stay confident. Having come, rain, in the rain you have come. 1 more hour you stay. 1 hour, 15 minutes at least. No problem. No, okay. Advocate of free market and mark this also as a very important question. Minimal government activity. Minimal government activity. Yes. Now, why this question is given to you? Answer is Adam Smith. Fine. Remember, usually the way they say is advocate of laissez-faire policy. That's what they give. If they give you minimal government activity, also it is Adam Smith. If they give you advocate of free market, also it's Adam Smith, because that's what laissez-faire implies. What does laissez-faire imply? Non-intervention by the government in economic activities, minimum intervention by the government in maintenance of law, order, and such activities. Are you clear for this point? Yes, clear? Okay. Now go to the next one. I will do some 8 questions here and stop. Okay. 6th one is the function of the government. The function of the government to ensure efficiency. To ensure efficiency. Now, which function you have to do? Because all 3 functions are meant for betterment only, isn't it? To ensure efficiency is executed. To ensure efficiency is executed through, see, resource allocation, income redistribution, okay, macroeconomic stabilization, choose the right one. I'm selecting tricky questions and only giving. I have selected tricky questions for you. Yes. A. Yes. How many of you wrote A? Perfect answer. In our material also in bracket you would have given for efficiency. Like that. Okay. So that is why I read that minutely. Okay. Resource allocation is a perfect answer. And this has been given as a tough question. Very good, Sanjay. You attempted it because most of them the answer is this only there. It is not. Each of it has a purpose. Do you understand now this point? Why this question is chosen? Then, 7th one. The distributive function. See how they phrase even the question. That is very important. The distributive function of budget is related to which of the following basic questions? Which of the following basic questions? Okay, I'll write the basic questions. This distribution function of budget. Okay. By whom should an economy produce? By whom should an economy produce? For whom should an economy produce? Both A and B. D. Neither A nor B. Neither A nor B. Option B. Okay. Yes, perfect answer. For whom should an economy produce? This addition of this term budget and all is to divert you from the main core. You know, distribution is always for whom. There only we studied effective demand principle, for whom it addresses the question. Progressive taxation, employment reservation, perfect answer. It is not by whom. To confuse you, let's say it's not both A and B, it is for whom. Are you clear? Okay. Eighth question. The government and the country's central bank. See how they are wording it to adding some extra words or something like that to make you bit deviate from the main point. The government and the country's central bank, promote full employment, and price stability, full employment and price stability. Through which of the following policy? Which of the following policy? A. Fiscal policy. B. Monetary policy. C. Both A and B. Both A and B. Read the question carefully and answer. Neither A nor B. As I told you already, this type of question mark it as important. Standard question. Neither A nor B. Both A. However, they word it. They may change these, but the answer is this. Right? They have to go hand in hand to achieve those macroeconomic variables. This variable only they'll keep changing. You got this clue now? Yes? Okay. Now, let's go to the next one. This is from that segment B is there, no, here. From there, we will take some questions. Okay. Segment B is little tougher for you. I will give you the questions you think and you answer. It's not that very easy, as I understand. First one. Which one of the following taxes is levied by the state government? Is levied by the state government. Okay. Options are corporation tax, wealth tax, income tax, none of the given. Take the questions and then answer. Okay. India is a federation. India is a federation of dash states and dash union territories. Now without options you can do this, I am sure. Third one. In India, taxes are levied by center, states, levied by center, shared by states, both A and B. Okay, the third one. Fourth one. On which of the following items, the state governments cannot levy taxes? A. Land and buildings. A. Land and buildings. B. Electricity. C. Vehicles. D is capital value of assets. And the last question from this, which I'm going to do, is one tricky question which you should know. As per the Supreme Court verdict, to just tell you that without touching the segment 2, you cannot address questions, because unless you study that, only answer can be done. Unlike the first one, where you can at least think, okay, which is efficiency, which is distributive, you can try to, but here it is not. If you don't study in fiscal function segment 2, you can't. In market failures segment 2, again important. Means what? Technical. Okay. As per the Supreme Court verdict in May 2022. Okay. The union has greater powers. The union has greater powers than the states for enacting GST laws. First option. Second one, the union and state legislatures have equal simultaneous, have equal simultaneous powers to make laws on GST. Option 3, the union legislature's enactments, the union legislatures enactments will prevail. Enactments will prevail in case of conflict. In case of conflict between union and states. Union and states. And the last option is the state legislatures. The state legislatures can make rules. Can make rules. Only with the permission of the central government. The central government. Please try this from segment B. Please try these questions. Think and write. Don't be in a hurry. Okay. First one. Which one of the following taxes is levied by the state government? What is the answer? None of the above. Tick mark. Everything is given determined, levied. Okay. So that is a very important point you have learned today. Then the second question is, India is a federation of states and union territories. 28. Okay. Union territories. 7 or 8? 8. 28, 8. Okay. Then, in India, taxes are levied by...
Okay.
Yes, perfect. Fourth one. Next question. On which of the following items the state government cannot levy taxes? Yes?
Capital value.
Capital value of assets. Correct. Then, as per the Supreme Court verdict, did you all try that? As per the Supreme Court verdict, were you able to try that?
State have equal 7.
Yes?
Option C.
Option B. Others?
Option C.
Option C. Option B is the correct answer. Equal simultaneous powers to make law on GST. GST question expected, that's why I gave you this. So as per the Supreme Court verdict, May 2022. Please remember that point very clearly. Okay. 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 Now we'll go to the next one. Okay, next set we will go. So start with the next set. It's going to be on the market failure and it is going to be on the government segment A and B of market failures. Okay. So let's try these questions. Not a problem. How much ever you're doing is not a problem. Okay. That is two segments of it. Okay. Yes. First one. Take down the question and then work it out. Okay. Which of the following, which of the following is an example of market failure? Example of market failure. Prices of goods tends to rise due to shortages. This is your option A, right? Then option B. Option B. Public goods are not sufficiently provided by the public sector. C. The market fails to allocate resources efficiently. Okay. And D. is both B and C. Okay. This is your question from the market failure segment. Okay. Second question. Take down the second. Next important question, you can take it down. Smoking is in public. Smoking in public is a case of negative production externality. Negative production externality. Negative consumption externality. Negative consumption externality. Internalizing externality. Internalizing externality. Fourth one is none of the given. Okay. Then third question. Which one of the following would you suggest for reducing negative externality? Reducing negative externality. Okay. Options are production subsidies, excise duty, C is Pigovian taxes, and D is all of the above. Okay. Question number 4. Question number 4. It is a big one. Fourth one. Which of the following is a part of private cost incurred by the firm, The options are wages, raw materials, heating and lighting, and D is all of this given. Okay. Last question. Fifth one. For like correct and incorrect statements, no, this is the last question of this. Which of the following statement is false? Usually, no, correct and incorrect is often asked in market failure segment B. So I'm asking you this. Tradable permits provide incentive. Incentive for what? To innovate. And reduce negative externalities. Statement 1. Understand the statement. You have to find out the false one. Okay. A subsidy on a good. Which has positive externalities. Positive externalities would reduce its cost and its price would be lower Okay, option C. Negative externalities are involved in the consumption of merit goods. Statement D. Merit goods are underproduced and underconsumed through market mechanisms. Okay. Now patiently do all the 5. Give time to do the 5. So, in fiscal functions and market failures, do you understand first part? Segment A is theoretical, segment B is Indian context. Do you understand that? Okay. So, that is why we are trying to give you this. Okay. Yes. Have you done properly? Okay. Now let's be clear. Sometimes the answers have to be rechecked also. Okay, that is the reason. Which of the following is an example of market failure? What did you all write? B and both B and C. Yes, others, please tell me. The market fails to allocate resources efficiently. Now, always there will be confusion between these two. Stick to this. Okay. If public goods are not sufficiently provided by, by the public sector, it is not going to voluntarily involve and do it. There's not going to be it's a way a compulsion compensatory spending only is happening the other way. Private sector is falling short and the government is doing, right? So answer is C. Very clear cut answer. Resources efficiently. So public goods are not sufficiently provided is a problem. Yeah, here they are not going to. Where is the private sector coming? Public goods are not sufficiently provided by the public sector. How is it a market failure? Market failure is a case where the private sector has let down the well-being of the people. From a welfare perspective, they have failed. Okay, so that is what you have to be very clear. Answer is what? C. Okay, go to the next one. The next one is smoking in the public is a case of negative production or consumption. Consumption. Be sure, repeated question also. Okay. Then, third one. Which one of the following would you suggest for reducing negative externality? What will you suggest? What you said? Excise duty. Okay. All of the above.
What is figure?
Yeah, I will tell you that. But please remember, this is just the name of the economist. Even for subsidies and taxes, Pigo suggested to reduce negative externality taxes, to encourage positive externalities, or to encourage merit goods and that subsidies. Professor Pigo, who is an economist, he suggested taxes and subsidies. But where should we focus is not in this part. Now you understand Professor Pigo suggested when is taxes needed, when is subsidies needed. When I want to control something, taxes. When I want to promote something, subsidies. Here, negative externality I want to reduce. This is a perfect answer. Repeated question. Even for subsidies, they are using the word Pigovian subsidies. Okay, so please remember that part clearly. Answer is C. Option C, Pigovian taxes. Focus on these part. Okay, that is the third one. Fourth one. Which of the following is not a part of private cost incurred by is a part of, it's not is a part of the cost incurred by the firm? Which of the following is a part of the private cost incurred by the firm? Yes, yes, B. Wages. Okay. Heating and lighting. All of the above. See, private cost is actual business expenditure. Anything they'll give as a raw materials, as a factor payment, as a process. All these are actual business expenditure is private cost. When I add an externality there, it becomes social cost. That which is experienced by the society. A cost incurred on that is social cost. Maximum social disadvantage, social cost. Are you clear? All of the above. Yeah? Okay. Fifth one. This fifth story with the big Ramayana, did you understand? Option D. Merit goods are underproduced and underconsumed through market mechanism. Or B. A subsidy on a good which has positive externalities would reduce its cost and its prices would be lower. Do you believe that these two statements are false? Yes. A subsidy on a good which has positive externality will reduce the cost and price. It is true, no? But how you are giving this as an option for false? I mean, it's true, no? Ah, isn't it? When I'm given a subsidy, my cost and price is going down. True only that is. Last one, definitely merit goods are what? Merit goods are those that are meant for promoting the welfare of the people. Let it be health and education. Definitely market mechanism underproduced and underconsumed. That is why government schools and government hospitals. That is why. Otherwise, no, the merit goods means what? Will the market mechanism means your private sector intend that this is welfare for the economy and produce. That is the meaning of merit. We are using the term merit to tell that something is good for people. We are using the term demerit to tell something is bad for people. Market mechanism is not concerned. If you put here merit goods, fetch them a high price. Yes, market mechanism. Demerit goods, fetch markets high price. Yes, they will do. They are not worried about merit or demerit. For them, returns. I mean, we are not saying bad about private sector. Their primary objective is profit making. It's a business. Whereas government is not doing these things as business. It is their responsibility to protect the citizens of the country. Okay, so these two we are agreed are true. They cannot be false. Now, tradable limits is one permit is when the government itself is announcing the permit. You know to what extent you can pollution levels, emission levels are told no permits. This is a socially desirable output is this much only. So when they follow that, they are exempted from taxes of different kinds, particularly pollution tax. So this will reduce negative externalities. It's also true. So this is a false statement. Negative externalities. How can there be a negative externality when you consume merit goods? When I am educated, when you are educated, your whole family, see, if one person is educated, family itself is educated, society gets literate, national gets literacy. Isn't it? So this is a false statement. So I just want you to see different types of question coming from market failure segment A and B. Okay. Now, we are going to money supply where if you need time, I'll give 2 minutes. You are going to write M1, M2, M3, M4 without seeing the components. It may be put up in the board if you are expecting that, but you are going to write it without seeing. You wanted to put it in the board or you have your material? Yes? Can you put it up in the board screen? So that in money supply, that is a main question I want you all to do. Do it here. Revise it and you can just tell me when you're ready so that I will give you the next set which is ready for you. Done? Ready? Okay. So go to your revision notebook. Yes. Please write. It's very important because components of money supply is a basic thing which you must know mandatorily. Online students, though you may have your material with you, you can do some references and all. Still, I hope that no, these questions themselves are somewhat eye openers to you. That is what I feel basically. Okay. So now that you don't have the material, probably you can hunt from somewhere, you can get the clue, that is fine. But the idea is to make you exposed to some questions. Okay. Done? Yes, all of you? Okay. Correctly written? So can you exchange your notebooks for this? Yes. Now let's check the answers. Have you all exchanged? Yes, Archini, who took your book, notebook? Give it to them, take their book. Remember M1. Check the answers. M1 is equal to currency notes and coins with the people plus demand deposits of the banks. CASA, we learned the term CASA, currency and savings deposit accounts. Plus other deposits with the RBI. You can excuse them if the bracket is not written, but otherwise, three components are defined M1. Coming to M2, M1 plus savings deposits with post office savings bank. Post office savings banks. M3 will be M1 plus net time deposits with the banking system. M4 is nothing but M3 plus total deposits with the post office savings organization. However, this bracket is important, excluding national savings certificate. See whether they have done correctly. Anybody done perfectly, all correctly? Yes, is it? Oh my god, not bad, yeah. All of you, huh? No mistake Tamin has made.
Last M3.
M3 is missing, huh? Totally is not written that M3 line at all, huh?
No,
Ah.
M4.
Oh,
M3 plus.
Okay, instead of M3, you started with M1. Others? How is Saravanavel's presentation, this answer? Good?
Good.
Yes. Go to the next chapter. Take down the questions now. As usual, be ready for the questions. This is set 3 here, or set 4? Set 3. Okay. Yeah, please. Fiscal policy. Fiscal functions already done. Segment A and B. Fiscal policy, second round. Okay. 1. An economy which is dash. Okay, that's what you have to fill up. Does not require government action. Does not require government action in the form of fiscal policy. So who does not require this fiscal policy? In fact, without option also you should know the answer, but still I'll give you the options, okay? An economy that is producing at partial level, or what you call as partial employment level. That is one option, partial employment level. Next one is economy that is producing at excess employment level. Third one is economy that is producing at full employment level. And D is none of the given. Okay. What's the first question? Second. Which of the following is not a type of fiscal policy? Not a type of fiscal policy. It's not a type of fiscal policy. What would you call so? Is a question here. Options are expansionary fiscal policy. Expansionary fiscal policy. Okay. B. Contractionary fiscal policy. Contractionary fiscal policy. C. Progressive tax policy. Progressive tax policy. Or progressive fiscal policy, not tax policy. Progressive fiscal policy. And D is all of the above. Okay. Question third. Okay. See, in a different way they are asking this. Which of the following policies? Which of the following policies? Thank you so much. Which of the following policies is likely to shift and economies, aggregate demand curve, aggregate demand curve, aggregate demand curve to the right. It means actually shifting to the right means something. Whether you have understood or not, we will see. Increase in government spending, increase in government spending, decrease in taxes, decrease in taxes, a tax cut, along with an increase, along with an increase in the public expenditure, an increase in the public expenditure. D, all of the above, all of the above. Okay. Question 4. An expansionary fiscal policy, an expansionary fiscal policy I think I will stop this video and take next one because suddenly current goes, no, all this will go away. So we are breaking in between so that we will save the video and continue in the next.